Good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
We're good? Okay.
No, we said we were ready.
Your boy's just gonna make sure that he is on vibration.
Yeah, I mean,
Same logistics. Vibrate on silent.
Yeah.
All right.
You ready?
Ready? Let's get to it.
Hey!
what's up, guys? It has been a full month.
Every bit of a month, and frankly, I don't think a single person was asking where we went either.
I don't know, my inbox was empty from like, where'd you guys go? How about yours?
Yeah, not
Not
the
one person.
slightest inkling of anybody wondering. But fuck all of you.
Yeah,
We're back.
We're back. It's. I think part of the reason we slowed down stopped.
Entirely ceased.
Yeah, was first of all you started a new job full time and you're doing your CPA in the evening, right?
Yep.
And then I just got busy with a handful of things with work. So once again, we said this before. Believe it or not, this isn't our full time job.
Go figure. The quality of this content
not quite paying the bills.
seems as if this would be a full-time job, but no, yeah. There was that, and then I wasn't feeling well for a bit. Like my kidneys were literally maybe bleeding. I don't know what happened there. I'm still here. We're good.
Yeah. So anyway, we're back, and a lot has happened, and we got to touch on a lot of it. We're just gonna have to skip over so many things, the normal personal stuff that we talk about, just because so much has happened.
Yeah.
Like literally the last time we came on, I don't think Zach Claros was a bomber.
Dude, like, I don't even know what Zach Caleros was doing a month ago.
He was studying a playbook so he couldn't play. That's what he was doing out in Toronto.
Oh yeah, he was in Toronto, and then he got traded to us, correct?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, but literally was there just to learn the playbook and didn't do anything. And actually, should we just jump right into a few bomber things there, or we should just see how life is going recently?
Look, I think
Let's do life recently first.
life recently is
some
where it's
restaurant
going to be.
stuff, some drink stuff. We should introduce the beer first again.
Yes, so let's start off with that. Let's open this up. This is I've been saying it incorrectly this entire time. I say Tsingtao, but realistically it's Qingtao.
Qingtao.
And this is the beer that kind of got it all started in a sense.
This is what we had on the first episode.
No, we had a Peroni.
Peroni on the first episode. We haven't had a Qingtao.
No, we haven't, because we were sitting at 4th drinking Qingtao in July or something like that. And that's when we initially started sitting down and we're like, haha, wouldn't it be funny if we did like a podcast for fun? And then it was like, no, we literally fucking suck. Let's not do it. And then here we are.
And then so many people told us not to do it.
No,
so
I ran an Instagram poll and the feedback was like 89%
resounding
negative.
no.
It was a resounding no. But despite public opinion, we came in hot for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, and I think up to that point in time, some of those pictures you took on portrait mode, might I add, expert quality. Some of those pictures taken at 4th Rooftop at that point were my most liked pictures on Instagram. So use that to springboard a few followers. That was good. But, let's talk about life.
Beer. Yeah,
it's a good beer.
Where has life been in the past month? I don't even know. It's been so crazy and so busy. For me, photo, video-wise, I have had so many different things on the go. I cold emailed a ton of people. This is kind of a funny story. And I've been emailing with a real estate agent out of LA who's on the TV show $1 Million Listing Los Angeles.
Stop.
Yeah.
That's fun.
About going down there and vlogging for him and starting his YouTube channel.
That would be
insane, and it all came off a cold email. So, I mean, emails are still going back and forth. Obviously, there's logistical issues, being that I'm in Winnipeg and he is in LA.
Correct.
But I happen to know another TV show reality star whose videographer and editor is from Toronto.
Okay.
So I know it's possible. I know him. I've been talking with him about it. So fingers crossed, things are still in the works with that, to be able to maybe go down to LA for a week or so every month to go film videos.
LA is actually such a shitty city, though. Make no mistake.
Like the downtown and stuff, like the city itself, but like the area around it, I love it. Like I would, if I moved anywhere in the States, it'd be definitely one of the first places I'd look at. Like I just love the vibes around there. I've only been there as a tourist too, so.
It's laid back and like everything, like all the major chains are there and the lifestyle is like very California. But just there's something about living in a U.S. state that has a larger population than the country that we live in. It's like, I honestly, it blows my mind, first of all, that many people are in that small of an area.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Crazy.
It is crazy. But I mean, a lot of times, the reason I love it there is just being in the creative world, in the photo video world.
Sure.
The opportunities are literally endless down there.
Right.
And the amount of people you can work with on things is just endless compared to up here. Like when I went down there in May and I was doing the odd like vlogging thing where I'd like really hold up my camera and talk to them.
Yeah.
And like nobody even looks or says anything to you in the middle of a restaurant because there's 3 other tables in that restaurant doing the exact same thing.
Really?
Like it's not weird at all to have a big camera out and be doing stupid stuff right in front of everybody because everybody's doing it down there.
So if I walk into Earl's Happy Hour and I do that, what's the reaction going to be?
You're probably getting booed out of there.
Probably.
Like, people are staring. They might throw a knife at you and you might get shivved.
They'll actually throw me in the fireplace if it's at Earl's St. Vital. Dude, make no mistake about that. That fireplace in Earl's St. Vital is to like sacrifice the impure. Like they for sure do sort of like satanic ritual.
That one forever. That I almost never go to Earl's though.
It's my favorite one.
But it's sort of a bunch of the Bombers went to Earl's, Maine after the Grey Cup victory.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. Lucky Whitehead and Kenny Lawler would not get on the bus to go back to the stadium. Okay, I was like, what if would I get on a bus, go back to the stadium, just pay $20 to get a cab back to Earl's, Maine? I want to go drink. Let's go, baby. He got off the bus, and a herd of people followed him to Earl's, Maine.
Wonderful.
Yeah, that was great.
That was a good call.
Yes, it was.
Oh,
and then other than that, I mean, photo, video. I shot some videos recently. I've taken like 4,000 photos this week, but we'll touch more on that in the Bomber segment, which is going to be a lot of this episode.
Which is going to be the overwhelming majority of this episode.
Yeah, so if you don't like the Bombers, you might just want to turn this off now. If you don't like partying, if you don't like having fun, turn it off.
If you don't like us, just turn it off. And everybody just turn it off. Most people just close it up.
We're done now. It doesn't even matter what we say.
Let's go. Okay, what are a couple of good restaurants you've tried lately?
Went to Lot 88 for the first time.
How do you feel about cooking your own steak? How do you feel about that?
I mean, I don't mind it if I'm at home on a barbecue, which Macy, if she's watching this, will be like, you never barbecue anyway, and that is 100% true. I never do the barbecuing anyway.
Correct.
So I don't even cook my own steaks at home. So when I have to pay $40, $45 to go to a restaurant to cook my steak, a little bit weird. Premium cut of meat for sure. Like I had a ribeye.
Yeah.
It was a good chunk of meat, I could tell that. But it's weird. It was a neat idea, but it's weird cutting off pieces and then leaving it on the stone and flipping it and cooking it.
Yeah, it's
odd. It's odd, but
and that's a trend that's happening too in restaurants is how, so Lot 88 is an extreme. You have to cook your own steak.
Yeah.
And then you go to other places and then there's the whole deconstructed thing.
Oh,
where it's like deconstructed Caesar salad and it's like a wedge of lettuce.
Caesar salad, I've never heard of that.
It's like a wedge of lettuce. It's a thing.
Really?
It's legitimately a thing. There's a restaurant called Shays on Provencher. It's a great, it's a sick restaurant, by the way. But they do this, and they do like a deconstructed salad, and it's like a wedge of lettuce, like a little scoop full of bacon on the side,
and you gotta like
some
take
cheese.
Bits as you wish.
Oh yeah, it's like to me as a patron, that's the equivalent of their kitchen staff just saying, "Yeah, here you go, fucker." Like make it yourself. You know, just make it yourself.
I said that to Macy. I'm like, how excited is the kitchen staff when they get the order from the server, and it's like, yeah, they're just getting 2 ribeyes.
And there you go. That's literally all it is.
They just have to wait. Like normally the salad is made first, but they have to wait for the salad to be made to toss the steak on the stone. I mean, it was neat. I thought the steak was good. Like it was a good steak. Macy did not like it. It wasn't super seasoned, which I'd agree with that.
Oh yeah.
It wasn't as flavorful as say like a keg steak.
Yeah. And
you have to make it. So for the same price, would I recommend going there or to like the keg?
Yeah.
I mean, I gotta stick to my guns and stick to my classic with the keg Gary Street.
Yeah.
But it was a neat experience. I did read over the menu, and they did have a burger that sounded delicious. It was like a sirloin patty with onion tangers on it, a fried egg, like all the good stuff, everything you want in a burger. I mean,
good cutting food. Hey, here it really lowers your cholesterol.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's good for the heart.
I think that the main takeaway of what we just discussed right now is that the keg is the late 1990s Brendan Fraser of restaurants. So whenever you're looking to go somewhere, you got to go there.
That's quite the analogy.
I miss him so
Brendan
much.
Fraser, he's not dead.
Well, no, he's not dead, but he might as well be. Like he could have died, and nobody would
notice.
Nobody would know. Like, name me one thing he did after The Mummy.
Mummy 2.
Exactly. And then I think
there's a mummy too, right?
There was a third one. Then they tried to reboot it with Tom Cruise like 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And
okay, Brendan Fraser. We're sorry, he's gone.
Oh,
may he rest in peace.
Like, have you seen pics of that?
No, I haven't.
Like,
I don't often Google Brendan Fraser.
Like, yeah, look it up here. I'm gonna pull it up right now, and you're gonna need for sure to toss this one up on the screen because
we'll toss it up on the screen. I just got some notifications. I should clear this off. This is quality content right here when we both go on our phones. Today this is gonna be largely bombers, like we said. A few things I want to touch on before the bombers. I want to touch on the photos that I've done this week and my Instagram in particular before we get into the bombers. My Instagram is absolutely going lit off this week with bombers now.
Oh, yeah.
I kid you not, in the past 4 days, Jamarcus Hardrick, Stanley Bryant, Brandon Alexander, Patty Neufeld, John Rush, Brady Oliveira,
all the boys,
Chris Strevler, all following me. I even woke up one day to Jamarcus. He slid in my DMs.
He's like, yo.
He's like, yo, you got any pics of me?
That's sick.
I just picture him saying in his deep voice.
But
let's see what Brendan Fraser looks like now.
Is that not the face of a man who's just been beaten down by the system?
No kidding. Man, look at this. Oh,
like Noah, get a look at this.
Oh no, guys. Brendan's not looking good now.
He's not looking good.
Oh well.
That's
now that everybody's got their Brendan Fraser update, we know that they were looking for that.
Well, and anyways, if you're wondering how he's doing, he's not. So
he's not.
So that's our takeaway.
Should we do a weekly update on
what
90s, 2000 stars, what they're up to?
I'd be even just okay with a weekly Brendan Fraser update and just be like, is there any news about him? Like, we'll call it Fraser Watch.
The premium content you guys
this has been the first installment of Fraser Watch.
Thank you for watching.
All right, that's the podcast. We'll see.
That's enough. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see.
We'll do it. We'll do a podcast every single week, and the podcast will just be: has Brendan Fraser been casted in a new movie? Yes or no? It will be no, and that's it. That's the end of it.
It's really simple thing.
God Almighty.
What else was going on with you before we jump into the bombers and bring on our guest on the show today?
Oh yeah,
who's been on before?
Yeah, he has a little brown jug and then a Colin.
Yeah,
that's our boy Noah. For those of you who don't know,
the guy with the undecidedly huge wrench.
Massive wrench, I hear. I mean, this is what I hear. I mean, we're good friends, but we're gonna leave it at that.
In my life, so I don't know. I don't know him like you do.
Couple QBs, man. It's all heterosexual. It's fine.
I don't think it is. But
in any event, moving on. That may get edited out. I'm not sure yet. In any event, what's up with me? No, just been going to a bunch of restaurants. I've been spending an ungodly amount of money on just dress clothes and stuff like that.
What would Shan Furness have to say about that?
Shan Furness would probably just have to talk about how capitalism as an economic vehicle has failed Western society. And I think that unlawful capitalism can do some pretty shitty things, because that's when you had those like coal miners in like the 1800s that were like shooting their workers and stuff. But I'm not a neo-Marxist. Make no mistake about that.
Yeah.
It was just her birthday yesterday, so happy birthday to Shannon.
She would not fit on our show, I don't think.
She would not. No, we'd be talking about a ton of stuff.
Oh yeah,
tons of stuff. Highly hot button topic.
Yeah.
Topics.
Anyways,
Anyways,
getting totally off topic.
So yeah, I have been to the Roost. I have been to Sioux Soul, a couple of spots that were really, really good. Langside Grocery, super good spot. I really want to check out. There's 2 more spots. Saddlery on Market. Saddlery.
Oh yeah, it's the end of Market, right?
Yeah, Saddlery on Market. I want to check that out, and I also really want to check out Deer and Almond.
Oh yeah, it's been around forever. It's not a local place.
It's clearly doing well. Clearly doing well. Those are spots that I want to check out. So yeah, no, just in the off chance that I want to spend more money on going out to drink, which I always do.
Yeah, exactly. Last time I saw you,
oh
you were
my
at
God,
Browns Maine.
Correct.
Which
Again, another incubator of what is happening here today.
Always good.
Yeah, man, like what the fuck? I'm always just drinking at different restaurants during happy hour. It's really a problem.
You know who else
but
is
anyways,
always drinking? Chris Trevler.
Chris Trevler is always pounding back
He's been on a week-long bender. It is 7:30 on Sunday night right now. At this point, like, we knew we were Grey Cup champions. Like, not officially, but like we knew.
It was probably like halfway through the fourth quarter around this point in time.
Okay.
But really quick, sorry to cut you off. I just have to say.
Do that there, and I got a couple stories, O'Shea stories.
Of course.
And then let's bring on Noah, and then we'll talk more about the actual logistics of the game and stuff. And then maybe touch on a few more stories about this past week with Grey Cup and everything. And then we'll finish it.
Of course. I was just going to say, up until about a minute left on the clock, I was just saying to myself the entire time, no, this is where Hamilton's going to score 28 unanswered points and win the Grey Cup.
There's just that doubt in your head that we've just had for 29 years that something's going to happen.
And then it didn't, and I was stunned.
Yeah, they got that one pity touchdown. Is what it was. The touchdown meant nothing.
No.
But going on that, we knew 168 hours ago, 1 week ago, that we were going to win that game. Mike O'Shea, I was at a couple different receptions this week. On Wednesday night was for the Pinnacle Club members, which I went somehow. I'm not a Pinnacle Club member. I don't know why I got an invite, but I went. And then Thursday night was a corporate event for corporate sponsors. And Subway's a sponsor, so we got an invite, so that's why we went. Went both nights, and on the first night, someone asked O'Shea when he was up talking. There's maybe 200 people in the Pinnacle Club. They said, when did you know that you were going to win that game? Because, let's be real, that game, there really wasn't much doubt what was going to happen through it. Like, our West semifinal and West final were a hell of a lot better games to watch overall than the Grey Cup was.
Yeah.
Like, especially the 6 stands within the 10-yard line on Saskatchewan in the West final. That was a heck of a lot more stressful than the Grey Cup was. Like, we just brought it to them in the Grey Cup. But anyway.
Pounded them.
Wasn't even close to start. And anyway.
Like the River East Kodiaks against Steinbach in 2013 is what that was like.
It was on par with that, for sure.
I would say so. That was insane.
So they asked, when did you know that you were going to win that game? And you're expecting him to say, like, with a minute left or, halftime, we felt like, there wasn't going to stop. You're expecting an answer like that. And he says, when he really knew that we were going to win that game, he says, we had just flown out there and we were on day 3 of practice. And it had been minus weather and snowing and raining and stuff. All of our practice throughout the whole playoffs has been crappy weather. Day 3 of practice, it gets to like 7 above, it's sunny, and the players are just going nuts at practice. I'm blowing my whistle every few seconds to calm down, and I legit had to tell the guys, calm down, like relax. It's day 3. I can't have you this high already. Like the game is in like 4 days. Yeah. I need you to just relax. I had to end practice early. That's what he said. We had to end practice early because I couldn't keep them. They were just bouncing off the walls. Wow. He's like, that's the exact moment I knew we were going to kick their ass in the Grey Cup.
Wow.
And that was like,
that's huge.
Yeah. And the way he told it, like, he's a head coach. He's a good head coach. Like, they just tell it like they're motivators with their speeches. And the way he told it, you just like goosebumps, and like the whole crowd just erupted because it was just like insane. The way he said, that's when I knew we were going to kick their ass.
Well, mood, attitude, tempo, and just the spirit of the team those are all intangible things that honestly, that's kind of the essence that binds a team together, that makes them perform well.
That stems from the top. Like that comes down, that mantra, that vibe comes
from the top, it's called.
Right. So if that's the official schooling word for it, right?
That is the official schooling word. Tone at the top.
Tone at the top?
Yeah.
Tone at the top. All right, we'll go with that. That starts right from the top with finally once we got Wade Miller 6 years ago. He appointed Kyle Walters GM 6 years ago. Once again, he was with us before, assistant GM, but we finally got rid of Joe Mack.
Thank God.
A disaster. Kyle Walters was kind of an unknown, but he's really good at finding Canadian talent, and that's proven to pay off.
Invaluable.
Like, it's been insane. That's a huge thing in the CFL.
Like, I think the Bombers actually ran more Canadians than they even had to.
I think they do. I don't know the exact ratio, but they must, especially with Harris being, like, having a running back as a Canadian, such a ratio breaker.
Huge.
But, so that was one story that O'Shea has said, was that. And then the next night, someone asked him a similar question, and he brought up the previous night's story, saying, you know what, I told this story last night, but I'm not going to do it because Biggie's here, and Big Hill was in the back of the room. and he said, I'm going to tell a different story. And he said, so obviously when you win, you get the Gatorade dump. It all comes. And we all saw that. It was so funny because he saw it coming. You saw him close his eyes as the Gatorade was coming because you just saw the cameras coming. He knew they were coming to get him. It was a little bit before that, like a minute or so before that, where he saw Big Hill go for the Gatorade and Big Hill coming over, and O'Shea turned on and said, put the effing Gatorade down. Like, told him to put it down because it's not time yet. We haven't won yet. Yeah. And Big Hill just looked at O'Shea and said, F you, and put it down and walked away. And O'Shea laughed. He's like, it was just so un-Big Hill-like. It was just so odd. And then they came and dumped it on me later. I saw it coming, so I was able to close my eyes. And it was later that night, or it was on the plane or something. He said Big Hill came up to him and said, listen, Coach, I have to apologize. I didn't mean to. Like, I just so excited. So he actually apologized for telling him to F off because he was just so jacked in the moment. Like, the players knew. Like, and O'Shea said he could feel the bench behind him just, like, rising. Like, they knew as that fourth quarter was going on, like, they were not going to lose this game.
Sick.
So, but yeah, do we want to bring on Noah and talk more now?
I think we should.
We should. All right. So, you guys, we had him on episode like 2 or something like that.
Episode 3.
3 was it?
Episode 2 was James.
James.
Talking about Monty's sex potion.
So then we called on Noah on episode 3 where he came on, and we just had him phone in, and then he was on Little Brown Jug. So yeah, Noah, come on in, man. Woo!
Yeah, glad you were able to make it. Glad you were able to come in and see the onset of Christmas in Jim's house. It's like Santa Claus just took a shit everywhere. It's wonderful.
Yeah, if you guys could see, I mean, I posted something a year ago about our house on Christmas.
We're getting in the spirit is what we're getting in.
So, yeah, exactly. Guys, before we get into all what happened in the...
Sing Tao.
Yeah. Can you crack it open for me,
Sing Tao. Pardon me, I said it incorrectly.
First of all, I'm going to take a sip of the Sing Tao. And that is not too bad at all, actually.
It's better than Bud Light.
You know what? Call me crazy. It might actually have just surpassed Bud Light. And that's one sip in. But nonetheless, I have to jump into this because it's sitting right there for me. I have to jump into this. So Dan tweeted a long time ago. Dan tweeted many months ago before the season started, and I have the tweet right here in my phone. And I quote, "If the Bombers win the Grey Cup this year, I will get my full stat sheet from my 6 touchdown performance against Steinbach in 2013 tattooed on my back."
You know what's now? You tweeted it out, so it's written. You said it on the podcast, so it's an audio, and we have video of it. We literally have all 3 forms of communication with you saying that you'll do it. Do you have the tweet?
I have the tweet right there.
I don't want to have to put it up, and in case I forget.
Get it close, nice close up.
Sorry guys, there we go. Will it focus? It will. I'll make that brighter. That's the tweet there.
Okay, so
Dan from Asper.
So that is like historic news, right? Because I mean, we did win the cup, and Dan is now in a tight spot, right? He's in a tough position. He has to decide whether or not he's a man of his word and whether he's going to get this tattoo. So before you, 1 second. So I'm going to give Dan an ultimatum here. Okay, so I'm going to give him. I'm going to give him a way out. I'm going to give him a way out from getting this tattoo. I'm going to give him a choice. Okay, so it comes down to this. Everyone knows I'm a big fan of Dane Evans. Okay, everyone. Make no mistake. I am a Winnipeg Blue Bomber fan through and through. I absolutely love the Bombers. They are my team. They've been my team for the last 13, 14 years, and I'm very passionate about my Bombers. They're my favorite team. But make no mistake, my favorite quarterback in the league, just based on talent, is Dane Evans. Yep. Now, I brought Dan a little gift today.
Look at this.
I'm going to give Dan a choice. He can, if Dan wants to get out of this tattoo, he's going to have to put this Dane Evans jersey on his back right now and wear it during the entire podcast. So Dan, I'm giving you a choice. Do you want the Dane Evans jersey, or do you want the tattoo on your back with 6 touchdowns against Steinbach?
Could I just like send Dane Evans a dick pic? Could I just do that?
Okay, honestly, I like this, but I don't as a Bomber and singular Bomber fan. Winning and still have to do some sort of punishment. So that seems a little bit raw, like a raw deal for Dan from Asper over here. But I mean, I do like the bringing it down like that. I still think you never said where or what you were getting it tattooed.
True.
Like, there is still a way you could cryptically get 6 TDs somewhere on your body, even.
Nice small font, you know.
I'll
You
get it
maybe
done
a
in
little
like
tramp stamp.
I'll get it done in like Japanese cursive or something, and I'll say it means like hopeful wishes or something like
So
that.
Dan, is that a no to the Dane Evans jersey?
I cannot put that shit on my back. I'm
know
gonna
what?
contemplate.
He's gonna say no, but
I'm gonna
guys,
contemplate the
I
ink.
tried, but
I would roll the dice and try to find a better way to get a tattoo because I like that he brought the prop on. I like the old tomato that he dropped for you there.
The old tomato.
Yeah, and
The old tomato.
the old tomato.
but I like that you're not doing it because I would not put on that jersey. as
Also, Dane
Tattoo
Evans
it
is
is.
Dane Evans is also the least physically attractive guy I have ever seen in my life.
well. Yeah,
And that is purely that is a purely heterosexual analysis of that.
Heterosexual as it can be.
Absolutely.
But an incredible quarterback, nonetheless. I realize he got shit pumped by us in the Grey Cup. We gave him all he could handle.
I don't
but
think his O-line showed up.
his
in
O-line let him
defense, too.
down, and we have Willie Jefferson and Jackson Jeffcoat, and we just overmatched them. Whether it was Dane Evans playing quarterback, Drew Brees, Tom Brady, like they all would have gotten killed in that game. Willie
No,
Jefferson
damn,
was an animal.
Willie Jefferson's getting an NFL offer this offseason.
I beg to differ. I think he's 29 years old, and I think he's just going to finish his legacy in the CFL. He wins the Bombers another Grey Cup. His legacy is solidified.
He didn't work out in the NFL given his physical attributes.
I think Willie is good enough to play in the NFL.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think he's definitely good enough to be a backup and maybe good enough to be a starter on some teams in the NFL.
Yeah.
He's that physically gifted.
Yeah.
But I just think at 29 years old, like I think he just wants to leave a legacy in Winnipeg, like go down as one of the best defensive linemen in CFL history.
Did you know he was a receiver in college?
He was, and he played with Josh Gordon at Baylor, right?
Yeah, he was a receiver. Imagine him being your target downfield.
Yeah,
6'7",
6'7", just
his
pop
mitts
it
are-
up
his
there.
mitts are like the size of a football. Like
That's unbelievable.
it's amazing to picture him. I was at the airport taking photos of them when they landed. I was actually the only photographer allowed on the runway to take photos. So I was the first one to take a photo of the Grey Cup back on home soil, and which was incredible. And Willie Jefferson carried it off the plane. So he carried it off the plane. He was last, and walking next to that man for the 400 feet down the tunnel in the airport, I was with him and Big Hill. I think Patty Neufeld was there. Harris was there. And there's a few other Bombers. I'd have to check my photos. Excuse me. He is a freaking unit. I like to think of being a quarterback and have 2, 3, 4, 5 steamboats back there and that guy's sprinting at you off one end is absolutely terrifying.
Yeah.
Like he is insane. I props to every QB who's played against
Willie
him.
Jefferson is like the epitome of the term. So you want to play quarterback.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
He was huge. He's a massive man.
I saw him at CFL Week a couple of years ago when he was with the Saskatchewan Roughriders. And honestly, I looked at him and I didn't actually, like, besides being a tall freaking dude, he looked pretty ropey to me. Like, he didn't actually look that built. I'm like, he looked like a receiver. Like, he did not look like a defensive end, in my opinion.
but like a Calvin Johnson type receiver, like just humongous. You know?
Quite, like.
Did you see the photo I posted of him in the parade holding up the belt that he had?
Yes.
That he took?
Yes.
The dude's like chiseled.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I believe it.
He's like chiseled now.
Yeah.
Like I would
Oh,
not mess with him.
he's in incredible shape. And,
Yeah.
and big, tall, strong. Like, I mean, he's amazing. And this gets me into my next question for you guys.
Just before we get onto that question, back to Willie Jefferson there. Yeah, the energy that guy gives off to is incredible. I realize he has the physical attributes to be in the NFL, and you're right, he is 29, so hopefully that means he'd rather worry about legacy, and he still makes good coin up here.
Oh, yeah.
Like he's still making a couple $100,000 a year.
Oh, yeah.
The dude is killing it, so I would love to see him stay, and I think he wants to stay. Come on down.
I think
to Winnipeg.
Darrell Walker is the highest paid non-quarterback in the league
Non-quarterback,
right now.
yeah.
I think he's making like 300, maybe
Yeah.
350. So I think if he's
Worst
making,
ways
like,
to
I think
live.
Willie wouldn't be far behind.
No,
right?
he wouldn't be
Like,
far behind.
But
Speaking of other Bombers, though, and then we'll roll over to you.
Oh, yeah.
Just the last thing as well is that it surprises me, though, how not big some of these guys are. Like, they're pro athletes,
Right.
and they're clearly gifted. Absolutely, they're clearly gifted. But, like, I saw Adam Bighill at St. Vital Mall around this time last year, and I'm like, holy shit, that's Adam Bighill, and holy shit, if I didn't know that was him, I would have probably never in my life guessed
Right.
that he's a CFL player. Like, he's a thick dude. Don't get me
Oh
wrong.
yeah, he's got fire hydrants for legs.
Yeah, he's stocky, but it's like not like somebody you
It's not
wouldn't
like when
see.
you look at some guys, you're like, that's a professional athlete.
Like Jamarcus Hardrick, I'm like, that's Jamarcus Hardrick.
Right.
Even
Stanley
if I,
Bryant,
Yeah.
yeah,
that's Stanley.
you know what I mean.
like you can tell
the
they're
big
thick boys. You see a guy like Chris Drevler, he didn't have a shirt on for like the past week, so like you can tell he's pretty built. And he's pretty, I wouldn't say chiseled, but like he's got a lot of definition.
He's in good shape.
He's in good shape for sure.
Strong dude, yeah.
Yeah. So, but even if you just saw him walking down the street or walking the mall, you wouldn't assume, because he's like 6'1", 6'2", maybe. He doesn't feel a lot much taller than I am. And he doesn't look like he's huge or anything like that. Like you wouldn't necessarily assume. And Big Hill fits that same bill, which is just crazy. It just goes to show the incredible talent that they possess with what they have.
Yeah. Brandon Banks is tiny too on Hamilton.
Isn't he like 5'8"?
Yeah, he's like 5'8", 150.
140, man.
Like
I'm pretty sure it is 140.
Soaking wet in dress shoes.
Yeah. I'm literally like for all intents and purposes, I should be more of an athletic specimen than Brandon Banks.
Except you don't run a 4.440 like Brandon.
No, I think I ran like a 4.98 or something like that.
I've never done it. I've never tested. I wouldn't want to test it now because I'm definitely not as fast as I used to be. But
Noah, what were you going to say, man?
I was going to ask you the question. I know Andrew Harris got the game MVP, most outstanding Canadian in the Grey Cup. That was obviously he's the most outstanding Canadian in the Grey Cup, no dispute there. But is there a case to be made that Willie Jefferson could have been the MVP of that game?
Absolutely. Yeah. Just so that they didn't have to set a record and make it the first time that one guy's won both awards. But it is tough to argue with. If you didn't know the players, you didn't know the teams, and you weren't biased, and you said the winning team's running back had 134 yards on the ground, a rushing touchdown, and a receiving touchdown with like 40 or 50 yards in the air, without knowing anything else other than that, you would say give it the most outstanding player to that guy. He had like 179 all-purpose yards.
Nothing against Harris. I think Harris had a spectacular game.
Yeah.
And he saved probably his best game of the season for last.
So did Willie, though.
But Willie, and I'll compare it. This is the comparison I'm going to make. The Denver Broncos and Carolina Panthers Super Bowl from a few years ago. Von Miller in that game had a strip sack and another sack. And he got game MVP.
Right.
Now, obviously, there wasn't a running back for the Broncos that had 100 yards, 2 touchdowns.
Right.
But Willie Jefferson, I believe he had 3 sacks in the Grey Cup, or was it 2? And a forced fumble.
He had 2 sacks and he had a forced fumble. And did he have a knockdown?
I think he might have.
And like a shit ton of tackles too.
Dude, yeah, he was insane on the tackles front.
Yeah.
What I loved early on with his play was it was like the second series, I think it was, and he got the roughing the passer.
Yes.
I don't know if it was roughing the passer penalty. Either way, he got his elbow to Dane's head.
Yeah.
And 15-yard penalty, and it was almost like, oh man, like we can't give him that. Like that's a huge penalty to take. Next play, strips the ball out of his hand and fumble recovery.
And just to build on that, like that start to the Grey Cup, and for our listeners that don't know, I did go to the Grey Cup. Yeah. I legitimately flew down to Calgary and
quit your fucking job.
We won't even get into that for PR reasons, but I did go to the Grey Cup, and the start of the Grey Cup. So first pass, Dane Evans throws an interception. Intercepted.
That looked like a happy throw, if you ask me, because how often this season did he overthrow a receiver by a yard or two? Never. Because I'll agree with you, he was on point all season.
He's a very accurate quarterback. He's got a strong arm, but he might have thrown that one a little too hard.
I think he was excited.
He was excited. He was amped up, and he just drilled that thing.
You see that with QBs
went
all the
off
time
the receiver's hands and got intercepted. And so then we get the ball back, right? And I'm thinking, this is amazing. We couldn't ask for a better start. We got an interception to start the game.
Yeah.
And what do? We get 1 first down and then punt the ball. And I'm thinking to myself, oh, man, like against a team like Hamilton, 15-3, those are the times you got to capitalize, right?
Yeah.
Because it's
points
not
exactly.
It's not about turnovers. It's about points off turnovers, right? And if you don't get points off turnovers, it's essentially a punt, right?
Yeah.
So we punt it back to Hamilton. Hamilton gets the ball back, and first play, Dane Evans drops back, and he gets strip sacked, right?
Yep.
Or he gets absolutely creamed by Willie Jefferson.
Yeah.
And I'm going, wow, we could not ask for a better start to this game. And guess what? The laundry's on the field, and you got a penalty, and it's coming back, and they get an automatic first down, right? And I'm just saying, wow. So we got an interception, and we got no points off it.
The emotion
then,
going back and forth at the start.
and then Hamilton, we absolutely destroy Dane Evans, and they get a 15-yard penalty off of it because we basically just hit him too hard.
Yeah.
And then so I'm thinking, man, like this is I've seen Bomber teams in the past blow this, but something about this team was different.
Yeah.
And very next play, wouldn't you know it, Willie Jefferson comes flying off the edge and blows up Dane Evans, balls out, picked up by Adam Bighill, 1st and goal. Next thing you know, Andrew Harris punches it in for the touchdown, and we never looked back.
No. Yeah, literally from their second series, you didn't look back.
Yeah.
Right from there.
Yeah. I think that I feel as if our QBs have been irrelevant for this entire year.
Yeah, okay. The QB talk, we've talked at length.
There's
off
not a
camera
single
about
there
the
is
QB
not a
discussion.
single game this year that was won because
By
of
our QB.
Not at all.
No, they just never lost us a game. I mean,
No.
Yeah.
like early on before Nichols went out. Okay, there's so many different angles to go on this. It literally can go in every direction. Nichols, would we have been in this position if Nichols doesn't get injured? That's like the ultimate question. Like if Clarence doesn't come in.
Yep.
Personally, yes, I think we would have been in this position. When Nichols left, we were dominating teams. We were games, like 3 of our first 5 games were over in the first quarter because we were just offensively just dominating them. And that was, we were really utilizing Strevler as well in those games as a second quarterback for running plays. And then Strevler took over, and obviously he's not a starter and not ready to be a starter in this league. He may never be a starter, quite frankly, in this league. But we obviously needed help at throwing the ball. And Claros came in, and you're right. He didn't necessarily win any game, but he didn't lose it. We managed to keep that game manager tag on all the quarterbacks we had. It's almost like that's Lapo and O'Shea's system is to manage the ball.
I think the Saskatchewan game, the game in Regina for the Western Final, that was probably Claros' best game.
Probably.
And then followed by the last game in the regular
Calgary,
season.
when he found Darvin in the
That
end zone.
was, in all seriousness, the whole season. I watched every play of the whole season. That was probably my favorite play all year. When Claros stepped up in the pocket, the bull rush was coming through, goes to his left, there's nothing there, reverses field, goes to his right, and finds Darvin Adams in the back of the
And then Darvin Adams makes a great reach.
tiptoes, right? Tony toe tap.
We were talking about that, how we just don't see that. As a Bomber fan, you're just used to seeing that against you, where the quarterback scrambles for 5 minutes, it feels like back there.
Yep.
And then they find a guy 30 yards downfield for a big gain or touchdown.
that
It just doesn't happen to us.
That was really impressive.
And also, at any given moment in these last 4 weeks, I don't think Zach Collaros even knew where he was. Like, that guy has taken so many hits to the head, he had no idea where he was.
Yeah, I don't know who he was or how he was as a person before this, but like I talked to him a number of times in this past week at different things, and I gotta agree with you, man.
Spacey.
Like when he got off the plane, I was like 10 feet from the bottom of the stairs when they came down the side of the plane, walking out. I was like, "Welcome back to the peg, Zach," and he's like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Okay, cool." And then
Holy shit.
other guys was like Brady, and I was like, "What's up, Brady?" And I like take his phone. He's like, "Wow!" And he's like coming at the camera, and even like Lucky Whitehead's like getting up in the camera. And other guys were clearly just plastered.
Yeah.
Because they went partying all night until they had to get on the plane. They didn't go back. They went to the dressing room, they partied, and they went out after they had to go to the stadium and partied until they had to get on the plane that morning and just didn't sleep. So a lot of them, when they landed at the airport, had slept just on the plane. The plane was a very quiet one.
Yeah.
And so like someone like John Rush, who I've talked to a bunch this week, I showed him the photos I took of him when he got off the plane, and he's like looking at the camera, he's like, and he's like, "Oh my God, look at that haggard guy." He's like, "I don't even know how I was walking at that point."
Like, I also noticed there were no interviews with Zach Collaros really either. There was one really generic one, but if you asked him, if you were like, "Hey Zach, how are you doing?" He'd probably he would probably respond with something like, the ringing in my head hasn't stopped since 2015.
It really hasn't.
Man,
I can't sit in silence.
I feel bad for the guy. Steele said that. He said when we acquired him, like, I don't know, this guy should not step on a football field again. I'm concerned for his life.
Yeah, man.
I love Zach Collaros, and anyone that knows me knows I love Zach Collaros. But
I did too, and I still do. But
there was one interview he did after the Grey Cup, and I think it was Sarah Orlesky who was talking to him, and Sarah said, "Zach, when you got injured in the first game of the season this year, third play of the season, when Simone Lawrence had one of the dirtiest hits I've ever seen in my entire life, did you ever imagine that like you could be in this position with the Bombers winning the Grey Cup?" And Zach's answer was something along the lines of, "Oh yeah, like this is a great team. I knew when I came here we were like," and you just wish that he would have been a little more, you know what I mean? Like just like, yeah, like I would have loved to have, that's the moment where I would have loved to have seen Zach break down in tears and go, "Man, like people said my career was over. You know, I proved all the doubters wrong."
That would have been a little more human.
You know what I
answer,
mean?
yeah.
I just wish he would have kind of seen the big picture here.
I don't think he can cry or feel emotions. Like you're holding Zach Collaros to standards that, frankly, like he's just biologically incapable. Like, I don't know if you guys have seen the movie Saving Private Ryan and the opening scene when it's on the beach and it's chaos, and then Tom Hanks is all stunned, and it's just the ringing and like people are on fire. That has been the last 3 years for Zach Collaros. Like, even like his personal life is probably like that. Like, just everywhere is like just ears ringing, things on fire. Like, he doesn't know what the fuck is going on.
That's incredible.
And he won a Grey Cup somehow, man.
Dude, you didn't realize Zach Collaros in the 2019 CFL season is 4-0 with a Grey Cup ring.
Yeah. And in
Just
all
retire, man.
in all seriousness, I've talked to a bunch of people about this, and I say the same thing every time. Like, he's never gonna be at a higher moment than this. Career almost ended. You go to Calgary on the road, a place where the Bombers never win. We never win in Calgary.
We never beat Calgary, period.
Let alone a road playoff game in Calgary. Yeah. And he beats Calgary. Then he goes to Saskatchewan and has his best game, throws like 5 deep balls in the entire game, and hits a bunch of long ones and beats his former team, Saskatchewan. Then he goes to Hamilton and he beats his former team, the other former team, right? And it's like, he's never gonna, like, this is like the moment where it would just be, with all the concussions he's had, with all the injuries he's had, like, wouldn't it just be the perfect time to walk off and just say, like, I did it. No one can ever take it away from you. Like, Zach did it. You know, no one can ever take it away from you, but it's just like,
you get a coaching gig.
Exactly. And you know he will. He'd be a great coach.
I think he would be, which kind of goes against what Dan thinks about his brain. But he still has a good throw. His deep throws were on point in all 4 games for the Bombers. I think this is going to get him a contract.
Oh, I think so.
I'm not with the Bombers, though. If I was betting, he will not be back with the Bombers, but he will be back in the CFL. He'll be back in the East. Where?
Ottawa or Toronto.
Ottawa or Toronto.
But that leads me into my next question, boys. And I have to jump into this. Once, like you mentioned, where's Collaros going to be? And I'm just going to say it. Who is going to be the Bombers' starting quarterback in 2020?
Nichols, Strevler.
You're going Nichols, Strevler?
Keep it consistent.
I just think that would show the following, that the organization has been loyal. Nichols is their man, and Nichols would be their man if he didn't get injured. He's healthy again, and Strevler will do anything for the city. And I think Strevler's agent is going to want more money, but Strevler's not getting starter money. He's not getting a starter role somewhere in this league because he can't throw the ball like a starter can. No. But he's clearly an effective player.
Like, if Strevler versus the Bombers defense, theoretically, let's say Strevler in a theoretical world goes to like Ottawa or something,
right? Or even in the Grey Cup, if he's on Hamilton, has to play our defense in that Grey Cup.
He would throw 5 interceptions like a game against the Bomber defense, like just because our defense is that good.
That's speaking to our defense, which who would have thought we'd be saying that right now, given how many people wanted Richie Hall's head.
Do you see Richie Hall crying after the game? That was honestly, that touched me. Like, that's what I wanted from Zach. I wanted Zach to just break down in tears and realize how great this moment was. Richie Hall crying. Everyone was calling for Richie Hall's job. And I got to be honest, I'm very happy for Richie Hall that he proved all the time.
I had a talk with Richie Hall for about 5 minutes at the Bomber store on Thursday night. He was coming out of the offices through the Bomber store, and I was with Macy, my girlfriend. I went up, like, you know who that is? And she's like, no, it's Richie Hall. She's like, I still don't know who that is. I'm like, okay, it's defensive coordinator. Anyway. I just went up to him and I just said, hey, hell of a playoff series, man. Like, what was it, 2 touchdowns in 3 games against? 39 points combined against in 3 games.
14 points against Calgary, 13 points against Saskatchewan, and 12 points against Hamilton.
And then how many 3rd-yard stands, like 3rd and 1, 3rd inches, and how many red zone stops where we left the teams with no points, particularly Saskatchewan.
Huge.
Incredible. Which, by the way, Big Hill had a big part in those stops. He actually implemented a partial new short yardage defense that he had mentioned to me that he brought. But anyway, back to Richie Hall. We said, how's it feel? Like, I just want to get their impression. He's like, you know what, man? With how everything's gone this year, it's like, no matter what people say, we're the champs. And he just was smiling. And he's like, you can't take that from me. You can't take that from us. Like, we're the champs. And he just said it with like his smiling ear to ear.
Yeah.
He must have said that 10 times in a matter of a minute.
So,
like, we're the champs. You can't take that.
As badly as I want to commend Richie Hall for that, I will still never forgive him for giving up 28 points against BC in 2016 in our in our playoff game. Never forgive that.
Oh, really?
Or how about the one against Edmonton the next year? right in our own building, and Mike Rowley just shredded us. So many.
Well, he plays that soft secondary that good quarterbacks pick apart. So luckily against Hamilton, our front seven just demolished the other team's O-line for 3 straight games in the playoffs.
I posed the question to you guys: who's going to be the starting quarterback? Right. Jim, you're going Nichols as the starter, Strevler as the backup. Do you want to do a little monologue about why that should be the case?
You know what? Quickly, the Bombers are super loyal. Nichols is their man. He loves Winnipeg. Nichols doesn't want to go anywhere. I realize that's nothing about their quarterback, his ability. I still think he's the best quarterback in the system right now at the end of the season with Klaus, with Strevler. And also, we're going to be up against the cap. I don't think we'd be able to go get, if you think a guy like Mazzoli can come back and play to how he did, or Dean Evans is going to be the next guy, or Nick Arbuckle is going to be the next guy, all those guys are going to want starter money, which is getting higher and higher, especially after Riley and Bo Levi both signed those like $750,000 deals this past offseason. Nichols isn't going to demand that just because he can't, because he isn't in that level. But I think with him and Strevler, the two-headed monster, as long as we get Laplace back, like fingers crossed, keep him as an OC, which I'm a little scared on that.
Yeah. Edmonton looks pretty attractive.
Yeah,
that job right
but
now.
so does it does look pretty attractive for Rick Campbell too, who has a lot of family ties.
I would take Laplace over Rick Campbell for sure.
So would I, but
I like an offensive-minded head coach.
Yeah,
personally.
so do I. But that's why I think just they like Nichols. They like the loyalty. I think Nichols is still. Just look at the start of the season. There's no reason he can't do that again. We were dominant.
All right, so
Strevler's the what'd you call him?
The human battering ram.
Yeah, when utilized properly, the dude's effective. And say what you want about his throwing. It's not great. And you guys have both mentioned that you both think that you have a better throwing motion and throwing arm than him right now. But that touchdown pass to Harris in the Grey Cup was nothing.
It was a beautiful pass.
Perfect ball.
And you know what? I don't know if you guys remember. I don't know if you guys remember, but the West Final last year against Calgary, Strevler came in and he had Andrew Harris uncovered. Like no one within 10 yards of him for a touchdown would have got us right back into the game, and he missed him, right? And what does he do in the Grey Cup? Like you couldn't script this stuff any better. He finds Harris down the seam for a touchdown and
it's a triple coverage. He should have never even thrown that pass.
Dude,
now, I'm happy he did.
I'm happy he did.
But
you're right. That pass probably shouldn't have been thrown.
I watched it, and I'm like, this is a pick.
It looked like a pick on TV because you were at the stadium, so you couldn't see it how we saw it on TV. But you just saw it, like the camera was like this. You saw it go in, and you saw Harris kind of go down, but 2 Ticat guys there on either side, and then I believe there's a Ticat guy just underneath them. And I was like, no, it's a pick. That's another red zone turnover by Strevler.
Yep.
And then you see Harris slide and come up with the ball.
Unbelievable. I'll never forget it. So you've made the argument why you think Matt Nichols should be our starter next year. Strevler is the backup.
The money's right. He's still the best quarterback in the system, and Strevler will still get a bit better than backup.
So I'll let Dan jump into this right after. Dan's going to make a case for his guy to be the starter. But I'm going to make the case, and I will say I love Jeremiah Masoli, and I think he's very, very talented, and I think Jeremiah Masoli would be a great option. But I'm going to make the case why Zach Collaros and Chris Strevler is the backup, but Zach Collaros should be our starting quarterback next year. And it's really very simple. I love Matt Nichols. I have his jersey. I message him on Instagram. I've talked to Matt Nichols. He's a great guy. And I you know what? He has turned this franchise around. We were rock bottom in 2015, 2016. Matt Nichols takes over and he saves Mike O'Shea's job and completely turns our season around. And we've been competitive the next 4 years. And people don't realize how close Mike O'Shea was to losing his job.
Yeah,
but when he made the change to Nichols, like Nichols saved his job. Make no mistake, Matt Nichols saved his job. But I just want to say my best example of why Collaros should be the starter is the West semifinal against Calgary. Okay, so we were up by, I think it was 6 or 7 points at the time, right? It was the fourth quarter. There was about 10 minutes left, 12 minutes left. And you kind of had the feeling that the next team to score was going to win that game, right? It was minus 20. It was like one of the coldest games all year. And you knew that the next team to score was going to win that game. And I've just seen this script before with Matt Nichols, where Nichols is up by 6 or 7 points, and he's just content to throw short passes and say, I'm going to let my defense decide this game. If my defense holds them off, then we win. And if my defense doesn't hold them off, then it's not my fault.
Just tries not to lose it,
exactly plays not to lose, right? He's not going to take the chance.
I wonder how much that's coaching too, though, because that's a LaPolice trend.
Maybe it's
as games go on, he gets more conservative. How many trick plays do we see in the first half compared to the second half?
But getting back to my point, maybe it's coaching, but Zach Collaros were up by 6 points, and you knew that the next team to score was probably going to win that game. And Zach Collaros is not afraid to go for the kill shot. And Zach Collaros drops back on 2nd and 10, and he just says, "Screw it, I'm going for the throat. I'm going for the jugular." And he launches a 45-yard frozen rope that Darvin Adams caught, breaks a tackle, goes into the end zone for the touchdown. Game over.
Collaros may also have thought it was still the first quarter.
Yeah,
Let's
and
also
that,
keep
and
that
that
in
could
mind.
be true. You know,
He had no clue the situation.
There was no idea of the situation. He's just like, I feel like throwing it.
But in all seriousness, Zach was not afraid to go for the jugular and try and end that game. And I love that killer instinct mentality.
I do like that.
Zach has the killer instinct. And as soon as that happened, probably one of the most satisfying feelings as a Bomber fan in the last 12 years, 13 years I've been watching, was after Zach Collaros hit that pass, every fan in that stadium started filing out. And all the Calgary fans went to the exits. And to me, one of the most satisfying feelings of my entire life as a Bomber fan.
Now, to counter that, I'd be scared the entire season with Zach Collaros back there, because you were one hit away from ending a guy's life and having Streveler as your starter again. And I love Streveler, but he's not ready to be a starter.
But isn't there an argument to be made that Matt Nichols really, although he hasn't had concussions like Collaros has, but he's also been pretty much just as injury prone as Zach Collaros has. Right?
Yeah, I just worry more when it's a guy's head compared to other things.
Just
in the football aspect, and I want my team to win, but just in a dude, I don't want to see somebody who I liked I still like him. Just have to eat pudding for the rest of his life.
All right, Dan, make the case for your
Dan, if you agree with us or pick someone else, also that means Noah needs to start drinking because
we're tying it up soon. Okay, so basically, I think that love Nichols. It would be nice for them. We're going based off of what I think will happen, not what I would want to happen. What I would want to happen is to have Nichols stay. That's what I would like. But what I think is going to happen is I think Dane Evans takes over in Hamilton. Masoli's a free agent, and Masoli's been injury prone, and there's not a ton
injury.
And there's not a ton of serious injury. His freaking knee got freaking turned into freaking coleslaw.
He was also a very mobile quarterback before this. That's like one of the good things. He was good at scrambling out of the pocket and running. Can he still do that to the ability he did before after a brand new knee? Basically.
So I think, to use some accounting terminology here, he is an impaired asset, which basically just means that his value has gone down.
Yeah.
And as a result, I think Bombers are going to be able to pick him up for cheaper than what they'd have to pay Matt Nichols.
Really?
So I think they would be getting. I think they'd get a more aggressive playing QB in Masoli for less money than Nichols. So I think economically they go with it and keep Streveler as the backup. So
and Dan, you've made this argument to me before that you think that the thing the Bombers need right now, we've had the game manager, we've had the Alex Smith type quarterback.
Yeah.
You think we just need a shot to the heart with like a gunslinger, go for broke type quarterback, and Masoli would fit the bill.
He would. But how interesting would that be if you have a guy who wants to run, like Masoli likes to tuck it in and run too.
Like I would just like
it'd be interesting. Him and Streveler, they're more similar. Just Masoli is a better thrower than a Nichols Streveler. It's less of a 1-2 punch and more of a. They're more similar than Nichols, and that's interesting that you think Masoli would go for less than what Nichols would. And I can see the argument.
We got to wrap this up pretty soon, but I just want to do one last thing here. It's been 29 years since we won a cup. We finally broke the drought, and it's been 13 years I've been watching. And I just want to ask you guys, I think this is a fun segment that our fans are going to enjoy, if we have any fans. I hope we do, but
do we have the Noah fan club started yet?
Who are your top 3 worst Bomber quarterbacks of the last 13 years? So dating back to, let's say, 2006, 2007, like somewhere around there.
Steph on the fours, and Steph on the fours.
Alex Brink, Brian Brom, Michael Bishop.
Stefan LaFours, Brian Brom, and
Michael Bishop.
Okay, so You guys are talking
Dan
about
Lefevre goes in there.
Dan
and
Lefevre
that
goes in there,
rounds
but
out- that rounds
so
out
you
all
guys
that.
are putting Bishop in your top 5 worst Bomber quarterbacks.
Yes.
I was pumped when he came, but he did nothing.
I love Michael Bishop.
We
and
know.
everyone knows me, knows I
Michael
love Michael
Bishop and
Bishop.
Bud Light, and now he's on to the Jeremiah Mazzoli and Singtown.
And I truly believe that if Michael Bishop had the defense that Buck Pierce did in 2011, that Swaggerville defense, Michael Bishop would have won us the Grey Cup. Make no mistake, Michael Bishop would have won us the Grey Cup if he had that 2011 Swaggerville defense. But Michael Bishop, strongest arm I've ever seen in my entire life. Decently accurate, not incredibly inaccurate.
Unfortunately for us, we'll never get to see Michael Bishop.
But there is a legend at Kansas State. Before the last thing I'm going to say before I go, but there is a legend at Kansas State that Michael Bishop, for those of you who don't know, played college football at Kansas State, and his teammates said one day in practice, "Michael, would you just throw it for us and just show us how far you can throw it?"
Yeah.
And Michael Bishop said, "Oh yeah, for sure." And he's a great guy, great teammate. I don't know if you ever got the chance to meet Michael Bishop, but he's a great guy. And Michael Bishop leans back and he launches this thing 93 yards.
Big throw.
Now, again, he was only about 23 years old at the time because he was in college, so it might have not been the same when the Bombers had him. But 93 yards, like that's Patrick Mahomes before Patrick Mahomes. And that's,
I mean, that's if you want to go back in Bomber talk, you go back to the 80s with Dieter Brock.
Yeah.
Dieter Brock could do that in the 80s. And he was, what was it? He could throw like from his knees. He was like a 60-yard bomb.
Yeah.
Like it was crazy. And actually, they had him on the radio the other day, actually during Grey Cup week, I guess, so a week and a half ago. They were talking about why he had such a strong arm. He had a brother who was a very good baseball player because he would bat, because Dieter Brock was the pitcher always.
Yeah.
And he would train in the offseason for like a month throwing a 4-pound football. And then he would only throw a 3-pound football for a month. Then he would only throw a 2-pound football for a month. Finally, the month before season, he'd throw a regular football, which is 1 pound, which is why his arm got so strong. Imagine throwing a 4-pound football for a month. It's insane.
Dude, my rotator cuff would just
It's amazing
rip
he
out.
has one still. It's incredible.
if you could start a franchise tomorrow, if you were an expansion team starting a CFL franchise, who would be your first choice as the quarterback for your team?
Current players.
They're
right
all
now.
available. Every quarterback's available. There's no like protecting a quarterback. Everyone's available. Who would you start your franchise
Sean
with?
McGuire.
I mean, it's not a bad choice. The dude's a beauty.
You guys
You
are
see
sick,
him in that
dude.
parade?
Oh yeah, he did nothing all year, and you should not get to party if you don't start at least 50% of the season.
Okay, hold on.
You should
I would
get
love
to
to
party.
talk about this. So,
Do we
let's-
even
I
have-
just,
do
I
we
just
have
want,
time?
I just want, yeah, you know what? I just want to touch on something else. Okay, so touching on, you were just bringing it up there. You want to talk about why Sean McGuire being your draft pick for the first CFL for the Atlantic Schooners. Sean McGuire, first overall. Which, by the way, Sean McGuire during the parade was an absolute beauty. I was stuck behind the QB truck the whole parade, literally like working for the Bombers, where I literally was taking the beers and giving them to Strevler, and I drank a beer Strevler poured in my mouth, and I even probably saved Wade Miller a very expensive lawsuit before he chucked a 40 at a wall. But that's a different story for a different time.
Did you talk him down from it?
I took it from his hand. So literally, people were chucking beers to the QBs in the back. They wrote our 4-string quarterback, who we signed like a month and a half ago. He went in the same uniform as all the Bomber QBs did and wrote "more beer, please" on his chest.
Oh
That was
my
the
God.
4-string quarterback, and which is beautiful because he literally did nothing, like literally nothing. I don't even know if he read the playbook because he was the 4-string. I don't think he dressed ever. But anyway, Strevler would catch a beer, he'd crack it, he'd slam some back, probably about an eighth of it, and then another like half would go on him, and then the rest he'd pour in somebody else's mouth in the crowd, and then he would huck the beer can into the streets at people, and people were just jacked. They were loving it.
Yeah.
But anyway, someone brought him past with 40. Maybe like that much left of the 40, so it's like, I don't know, just under half the 40. A few of the guys drank it, he poured some into a few fans' mouths, taking shots in the street, and then he slammed it, finished it, and he put it down, and it looked like he was about to pick it up, or I don't know what he was going to do with it, but he had thrown everything else that had been in his hand all day, which is really ironic because he doesn't like to throw normally.
Hates throwing.
Which he made that joke numerous times as he was throwing empties into the crowd.
He's like missing the crowd. He's like
missed
not
the
even.
guy. He's like, "You're right there, catch it."
It's like the other way.
It's picked off, hits a car 3 streets away.
Strevler like,
Not 3 streets
Strevler,
away.
like runs it over, like runs it to the
Yeah,
crowd.
exactly. Jumps out of the truck. Here you go. Well, anyway, so I didn't know. So literally, he put it down, and I was literally standing right there, where like I was holding onto the truck where he was sitting on. So it was like almost holding his knee the whole time, like during the break. And I just grabbed the bottle out of his hand. And like, yeah, let's put that down. And the head of security, his name's Kelly, was next to the truck. He's like, thank you. That didn't look like it was going to turn out well. But you have an interesting point of topic on who should be partying and who shouldn't be. I want to touch on it with who gets rings and who doesn't and what it costs, because I talked to the Bombers on Friday night about who gets. There's 3 tiers of classified of who gets and what they cost, and then we'll wrap it up.
Yeah, let's do it.
Go for it. Who should party and who shouldn't, Dan?
I think that you should only be able to party if you have made a material impact on the team. Now, that's based on if you have played, and if you've played for, and I don't know if we could express it as a percentage of the year like I initially did. I think it's just Caleros should get to party. Matt Nichols should get to party.
He led us to 7-2.
Yeah,
Like, then he
Nichols should get to party.
Nichols was good. Yeah.
And he's been with the team for years as well.
I completely agree. Man.
Yeah,
Nichols
where-
should be able to party.
Right, so exactly. And he's played, he's left his mark, he did a good job,
Yep.
he helped the team. Same thing for Streveler, same thing for Caleros, same thing for Whitehead, all the guys. But like Sean McGuire never stepped foot on the field, and he wasn't calling plays, he literally just held the clipboard. I'm sure he's a great guy.
He held the ball when Streveler was injured in the starter for Medlock.
I have
Yeah,
one
there you
better.
go.
I have one better for you guys. Like, I know McGuire was the 4th string quarterback. Did you know that we have a 5th string quarterback, and his name is Trevor Knight?
Yeah, we were talking about that's the guy.
That's him.
Literally touching the story about the QBs. Streveler picked up that outfit he wore, no shirt, jeans, shorts, cowboy hat, gold chain, glasses, like months ago. And it's actually his girlfriend's mom's jacket that he's wearing. A little tidbit for you.
Yeah.
He picked that out, showed up to the stadium like that, and the rest of the QBs said, "I didn't know we were going matching. We all have to match if all going in a truck." Which, by the way, another reason why I don't think Clarence is coming back. All the QBs rode in one truck in the parade together and matched.
Caleros did not.
Claros wore his pants, his shirt, a jacket, a hat, and was on a different
On
float.
his own
On his
truck,
own, which he probably didn't know he was on the wrong truck.
Yeah,
he
he didn't.
probably thought he was with the QB. He kept going, "Strev, what's going on?" Meanwhile, his patty
You guys
fell.
are too mean.
And I like the guy. Don't get me wrong. But anyway, so when they showed up to the stadium, and Nichols was wearing Lululemon pants, and he just got a pair of scissors and cut his Lululemon pants, cut the legs off. Same with Trevor Knight. Trevor Knight, same thing. Patty Neufeld was telling me a story. He's like, dude's been with us for like a month. He takes off his shirt. He's got one pair of jeans in Winnipeg, cuts them off so he can match in.
And he gets a Grey Cup ring. Like, make no
So-
mistake, he gets a ring.
So they classified it as 3 different tiers about the Grey Cups ring. I'll talk about this, and then we'll do any last comments that are quick with under a minute, and then we'll wrap it up. They 3 tiers. Tier 1, like immediate players, coaches, training staff, and stuff like that. Like the immediate, like kind of the players you think should be partying full time. Second tier would be like girlfriends, wives, extended family members from the office or the players, and practice roster players. Now those guys get a ring, but it costs them about $500.
They have to buy their
The
ring.
second tier people have to buy the ring.
Hold up, you're telling me they have to buy their own
The
ring?
first tier players, so the training staff, coaches, O'Shea, Streveler, Nick, blah, the names you assume. Basically, 12 on defense, 12 on offense, 12 on special teams, plus like the main guys. And all the coaching staff all get their rings. Those are free. You get those.
Yeah.
The second tier is the friends and family and the practice roster. They can get one, but it's about $500 or so is what's going to cost them to get the ring. Third tier, I forget who that is. It's like the people who like had only been there a certain amount of time. I don't know the
Trevor
exact
Knight falls into
details.
that category?
He would fall into that category, and it would cost him about $1,000 to get the ring.
Okay.
So, $1,000. Are you gonna do it? Probably not, because it's not like you made $300,000 or $200,000 or anything this year. If you're on the practice roster and you didn't even have a job till that late, you probably don't have the grand to spend on that ring, and you might feel like you feel I didn't really do enough to deserve to win this.
Yeah.
Which I would agree with that. So it's also offered to Bomber staff, so ticket sales reps, Bomber store staff. Like if
Athletic trainers.
the person they would, I think they'd be at least
Second
tier
tier?
1, maybe tier 2.
Okay.
Like the head trainers probably tier 1 because
Yeah.
those guys really keep the team running.
Yeah, for
But
sure.
even if like the person you go to the Bomber store tomorrow and buy a pair of socks from, they can get a ring. It probably just cost them like $1,000 for the ring. Are they going to do it? Some might. I mean, it's kind of cool to say you got it, right? And you work for the Bombers, but I don't know how many people would be doing that. It'd be interesting.
No, I'm a big believer in things are earned, and
Yes,
and that's just
I
it. And
agree.
and earning it isn't the same as paying for it. You know what I
I
mean?
agree.
So-
It's a fine line. It's the same point. If I'm a guy who gets injured in week 1 and I was going to be a regular on the team. I was going to play a pretty decent role throughout the season, but I get injured for season-ending injury in game 1. I train all season with them, and I'm one of the guys, just I'm not playing. That's another thing where I'd probably still be partying hard because I went through it all with them, but it would feel, you'd feel like there's a little left on the table, I think. Like, I need to go and do this again because I want to win it for myself, not just be part of the winning team.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
I get it, 100%. Like, you have to play an integral role in it.
So I'd be jacked even if I was injured the whole season and won it. You'd still get your ring. You wouldn't have to buy it. I'd still party hard. But at the same time, it's like, we got to do this again because I want to be the guy who rushes in for that touchdown in the final game. I want to be the guy who gets the pick in the West Conference Final.
If you were on the preseason roster and you played in both preseason games,
and
you were cut in like the last cuts, right?
Yeah.
And would you have the option to buy a ring?
No, I don't think so.
Because my friend Zach Greenberg was a backup long snapper for the Bombers, right? And
that's a lengthy role right there.
He played in the preseason game, both of them, I believe. And I was just wondering if he could get a ring.
I doubt it. I don't think I think you'd have to be on the end season roster.
Yeah, you have to be on the active
There's some
roster.
Raptors that had an issue with that. They didn't get offered a ring because they played like 3/4 of the season with the Raptors last year. It's like, well, no, they didn't win.
You got cut.
You didn't win. Your name's not going to the cup. You weren't any part of the staff during the Grey Cup and the playoffs. So no, I don't think you get one.
Correct.
So now
closing remarks.
Wrap things up.
Yeah.
Any other stories quickly? No. Wrap it up. Noah, thanks for coming on.
No worries, man.
Wonderful.
We could literally go on for hours more. We rushed a lot of the topics, or cut short a lot of the topics, and there's many more we could go on. We could analyze each quarter, each play by play in that game.
Correct. We could single-handedly look on an individual basis of all of Zach Collaros' remaining brain cells in the span of an hour.
Dan, are you getting the tattoo? I just say it to the audience. Look at the camera and tell them yes or no.
If I could get my definitive stat sheet, I'll consider it. I will give it. Evidence.
You heard it, folks.
The evidence is there that I have committed to that. If I could find the stat sheet, and it might involve sending a few emails back to River East Collegiate to see if the document still exists, we'll have to see.
And if you do, you can bet that we will be there recording it.
Oh, yeah.
I want to tell one story. I'll make it 30 seconds or less, and then we'll go off. The Bombers all got a tattoo. Almost all of them did. A bunch of them went in the past few days with their team motto on it.
What's the team motto?
So a lot of them got the Roman numerals 2019 on their arm or back or chest, wherever they wanted, didn't matter where. And they got the team motto. I told Dan this before. It's FIFO. FIFO. You'll see it in all caps on a lot of the Bombers' Twitter and Instagram posts. What's it stand for?
Naturally, I said first in, first out.
That's the account.
That's
inventory. That's the restaurateur and me. That's how you inventory things, first in, first out. No, but instead it stands for fit in or fuck off.
You're kidding.
That's the team motto.
That is
and
beautiful.
I love it.
That is beautiful.
Just epitomizes the family that was that team and how special they were. Fingers crossed Walters can get them all back next year. He won't, but as many as possible so we can win another one.
The main priorities for the free agents, Jamarcus Hardrick, got to re-sign. Got to find a way to get Jamarcus re-signed.
Yeah.
Stanley Bryant, got to find a way to get him re-signed.
I think they will.
Marcus Sales, got to get him re-signed. Winston Rose, got to get him re-signed.
Well, I don't know if they'll get all of them, but we'll definitely get a number of them. So
who am I missing here? Darvin Adams is a free agent.
You forgot Dan from Asper.
Yeah, I mean,
me.
Dan.
He's going third string. He's actually going to jump Sean McGuire. But anyway.
Sean, watch out, man.
And if they need a passer to go in as backup, that'll be me before the struggle.
Anyway,
but if they need a guy to throw a beautiful sidearm fadeaway, well, you know who to call.
Very specific skill set that they're looking for.
If they're just looking for a second and goal from the 5-yard line, we get the max blitz, and you just need a guy to fade away and flick it sidearm into the back corner of the end zone for a touchdown. I'm right here, Bombers. You know how to who to call.
There. Anyway,
thanks for coming on,
FIFO,
Noah.
fit in or fuck off. Bomber motto. Love it. Fit in or fuck off. That was our motto in here. You sort of fit in.
You think I fit in?
Keep you around for a little bit longer.
Well, I need another beer, so fuck off.
I do need another beer, so.
I'm at my prime. Hey, I'm at my prime. Whoa. Said I'm at my prime.
That was good.